You are Locked On Giants Postcast, part of Locked On Sports San Francisco on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Yo, what's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Locked On Giants Postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel, and you may know me as the former producer for the Murph and Mac Morning Show on KMBR. Today, the Giants return to Oracle Park in style as they pick up the walk-off win in extra innings over the Houston Astros. 4-3 is your final score, and it was the most unlikely of heroes tonight for the Giants. Austin Slater comes up with the big hit that scored Conforto for the winning run. Oh, man, we were all just killing this guy just a couple days ago for being the reason that Luis Matos went back down to AAA, and here we are, Austin Slater, the hero tonight for the Giants. And we got to give some love to Mike Yastrzemski for his great play tonight, and Kyle Harrison, too. This guy pitched lights out, one of his best outings of the year so far, and a great day for Giants baseball. We'll break it all down, but first I want to thank all of you for watching us on the Locked On Sports San Francisco YouTube channel. Please, if you aren't already subscribed, hit that subscribe button right now. Thanks also for listening on the Locked On Giants podcast feed. However you're getting the show, we appreciate you tuning in. And make sure to check out the Locked On Giants Daily Show for more in-depth coverage. Ben Kaspick does a great job. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $200 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. This one was fun, man. It was a pitcher's duel all the way through, and it was really, the Giants have been facing a lot of young, talented pitchers that they haven't really seen before. They just faced that kid from the Diamondbacks throughout the other day who they hadn't seen yet, and today they get Spencer Arrighetti for the Houston Astros. This guy's last name sounds like a pasta to me. That's all I can think of. Every time I hear Arrighetti, I'm like, it sounds like a type of something I should be ordering out at Original Joe's over in North Beach or something, man. So, but he was doing work out on the mound today. He only gave up one run in the bottom of the first. It looked like the Giants were going to get to him. They put two runners on quickly. Bailey had a great at bat and made him work and throw a ton of pitches, but the Giants couldn't really do anything with it. Soler was robbed of a hit in that inning, and he's had a few that he's just absolutely smoked down the third base line. He's been robbed. But Suarez robbed alone in that Diamondback series, robbed him of like 2 or 3 hits. He keeps just, hitting rockets down that third baseline, and they keep not getting through. We saw it at the end of this game. One of them hit Ramos right in the shin, man. I don't want to be taking 100-mile-an-hour ball off the bat of Jorge Soler to my shin ever. That sounds terrible, man. It's like the worst place to get hit by a baseball is the shin. Definitely not the worst place, but definitely not a fun place either. Regardless, the Giants can't score in that first inning. We kind of cruised along back and forth, Harrison and Arrighetti dueling on the mound until the bottom of the fourth. Soler, another rocket down the third base line, and that one finally got through. Yaz moved him over to second base with the slow roller to third, only one out, but the Giants, again, couldn't capitalize on the runner in scoring position. The game remained tied at 0. Harrison was dealing through the top of the 6th inning. After he had finished the top of the 6th, he had only thrown 72 pitches over 6 innings of work. Totally locked in, hadn't given up a run yet, and this guy walked 0 batters. One of the main keys for Kyle Harrison this season has been limiting walks in just being in control. His control of the strike zone, painting those corners has been tough for Harrison through certain times of the season. And in the strikeout stuff, he wasn't really pitching for strikeouts today. He only had 3 of them, but he was so effective on the mound. This guy had 10 ground ball outs. This is not something we normally see from Kyle Harrison, who is pretty regularly a fly ball pitcher. He's not the guy to go out there and be like a Logan Webb and live down in the zone with all this sinking action. He loves that high challenge fastball with all that late movement. He pitches 4 strikeouts. And so credit Harrison. We've talked a lot about how Harrison needs to develop into a pitcher, not just a thrower. And today goes a long way in developing Harrison into being that type of elite pitcher who can get you out with his head and with his arm. And today was great. He had a great outing today. The only complaint I have is I would have liked to see him pitch a little bit longer. In the bottom of the 6th, after Harrison came out, he didn't exit the game in the top of the sixth. He did show back up in the top of the seventh on the mound for the Giants, but they took a lead, gave Harrison an opportunity to pick up the win in the bottom of the sixth as Mike Yastrzemski tripled to the right center field corner, deepest part of the yard. It would have been a home run in 29 of 30 MLB parks. He got oracled. 103.2 miles per hour off the bat, 406 feet. Soler was on first base with those bright yellow shoes, man. I mean, they were talking about it on the broadcast a lot, but did Shinjo wear bright yellow shoes? I feel like Tyoshi Shinjo, I shout out Shinjo, man. That guy led the league in triples one year when I was a kid. I have like a Shinjo, like those old baseballs that they used to make with like the player picture on it and their stats and stuff. I have one of those from Shinjo floating around here somewhere. And I think he might have worn some yellow cleats at one point in time. I remember he had a bunch of yellow like armbands and stuff all the time. Maybe he had the yellow cleats too. I can't really remember. I was pretty young when he was a Giant, but Soler may be the first guy since Shinjo to rock the yellow cleats. And he was flying around those bases, man. He scored on that Mikey Yaz triple to the right center field corner. Maybe the new shoes give Soler a little bit of spark out there at the dish. We can only hope, man. The triple chases Arrighetti and his pasta sounding last name from the game. 99 pitches over the 5 and I believe 5 1/3 innings of work for Arrighetti, 5 2/3 innings of work for Arrighetti, and 99 pitches over that stretch. I mean, that's something that we see a lot from Giants pitchers, is other teams making them work and Giants pitchers throwing a lot of pitches. Today, it was the opposite. The Giants made the opposing pitcher work, and Kyle Harrison kept his pitch count way, way down. However, in the top of the seventh with that one run lead, 1-0, Yordan Alvarez can't keep him down for too long. The Astros are not the same team this year that they have been in the past. They're just 30 and 37 now with the loss, but you still got Yordan Alvarez, who is just one of the best hitters in all of baseball. This guy's a monster at the dish. A leadoff triple for Alvarez, almost thrown out at third base, but a bad relay from Brett Wisely to Casey Schmidt, or maybe it was Tyro. I didn't quite see who made that relay. I think it might have been Wisely, but regardless, bad throw from the cutoff man over to third base to Casey Schmidt. It was on the wrong side of the bag, and it was a short hop throw, and Schmidt had to kind of swipe on the left side of the bag and try and bring the ball back to the right side of the bag, all in one motion if he was going to have a chance to get the tag out on the play. Really tough play to make, and he couldn't pull it off. It's not on Schmidt at all. It definitely was not the best throw, and a tough play to work with. Kind of looked like Yaz came up a little slow on that too. I don't think he thought that Alvarez was going to push for third on that one, but Yaz looks like he took his time a little bit getting that ball in. He had like a double crow hop from the outfield. It's not something we really see from Mike Yastrzemski. He's got a pretty good arm out there. So I was kind of surprised to see that Alvarez kind of caught him off guard there. The next batter of the inning comes up and works a sac fly, 1-1. Astros tie it up. Then Myers doubles down the line, and Harrison gets pulled from the game. And that double down the line was just a few inches from being a ground ball out. It would have been his 11th ground out of the game. Only 77 pitches total for Harrison in this game, 6 1/3 innings pitched. I think you leave him out there and try to work out of it. I mean, we'll get into this a little bit later. The Giants got the win today, so I'm nitpicking here. I know you guys love when I do that on Giants wins, but I would have liked to see the young kid work through that opportunity, have the chance to get out of the jam. I want to see what Kyle Harrison can do when the chips are down. I think we need to know this. I mean, I know he's a young kid, but this is a staple of the Giants roster going forward and their pitching staff. I mean, Bob Melvin ended up pushing the right button in this one, as the Giants still did get out of the inning. No runs ended up scoring after that one run, that sac fly. But yeah, I mean, I think I want to see Harrison out there to finish that inning. Regardless, Sean Jelly comes in, immediately gets a ground ball out for the second out of the inning, and then gets Abreu to ground out. No more damage done. Sean Jelly has been really good this season in keeping the ball on the ground. Still, he's up over 60% ground ball rate. He's been great for the Giants out of the pen. A lot of guys have been so far this year. Ryan Walker, top of the eighth, comes in relief. Next guy out of the pen. And Mikey Yaz helped him out. Ryan Walker better be buying Mikey Yaz some dinner tonight or something. I mean, a phenomenal diving catch in right field, diving towards the foul line in a full sprint. If that ball gets by him, it's for sure a triple, maybe an inside the park home run. Yaz full extension, I mean, horizontal to the ground, goes full Superman mode and makes the play. I mean, Yaz with his fingerprints all over this game with that RBI triple and this play. It was, I mean, it really changed the momentum in this one. That could have been a very different inning for the Giants. Bregman came up next, and that AB was kind of intense, but the Pat Bailey frame job and a 3-1 count on a very borderline strike. So I feel like Pat Bailey stole a strike for Ryan Walker there on a ball that could have easily been ball 4 for Bregman. Instead, the at-bat continues, and he grounds out to end the inning. Ryan Walker gets out of it. No damage done. Camilo Doval comes in the ninth, makes things real interesting. He's had a tough time controlling that slider. We can get into the Camilo Doval specifics a little bit later. Had some good ones and bad ones in this one. Walks Pena, gives up a single to Dubon, and then a passed ball gets by Bailey. I think it was a wild pitch, actually, gets by Pat Bailey. Runners move to second and third with 2 outs, and Doval ends up coming up with a strikeout. Actually struck out the side in this one. Very Brian Wilson-esque. I mean, just doing his best to make Giants fans' hearts be in their throats before getting out of the jam. In the ninth inning, Wilmer has a 2-out line drive down the third base line, but Dubon cut it off and held him to a single, and Hader shut down the Giants for the rest of that inning. In the 10th, Eric Miller comes in for the Giants in a great bunt down the line by Trey Cabbage. Shout out the last name Cabbage. I've never heard anybody with this last name before. The Astros got all sorts of like weird last names. Arrighetti and his pasta sounding last name, Trey Cabbage, and he's all about vegetables or something. I don't know, but great bunt down the line by Trey Cabbage. Wilmer couldn't make a stretch on that play because he was trying to get back to first. If he had been able to stretch for that ball, I think he would have been out. Was called out on the field, overturned to safe based on the Astros replay review. So the Astros get first and third with nobody out, and a sac fly by Caratini scores the Manfred man. 2-1 Astros lead. A great at-bat by him, an 11-pitch at-bat, fouled off a ton of pitches. The runner steals second. Trey Cabbage steals second. Could have been out if Tyro would have been able to squeeze that throw from Pat Bailey. A great throw, but the one hop kind of threw Tyro off. Ball glanced off his glove. Tough to squeeze it and apply the tag. Altuve then comes up with a great bunt, and Bailey made a heck of a play coming out of the squat and made a nice throw over to first, but the perfectly placed bunt is one of the hardest plays to defend in all of baseball. Astros had 2 of them in this inning, and again, they get first and third with 1 out. A ground ball up the middle, scores a run. It could have seemed like if Wisely had been playing more up the middle, like at double play depth, which I don't really know why they weren't at true double play depth. I'm sure their positioning cards and their hats tell them more information than I have on hitter trends. But I mean, maybe I'm just old school and traditional, but I like my middle infield at double play depth when there's 1 out in extra innings in a 2-1 game. So I don't know, but the ground ball gets up the middle, scores instead of being a double play. 3-1 Astros take the lead before Eric Miller can get out of the inning. And then in the bottom of the 10th, it got real fun for the Giants. Wisely led off with a single, scored the Manfred man right away. Casey Schmidt scores, and then Ramos comes up, and in an error by a former Gold Glover in 2002, Jeremy Pena, allows Ramos to reach safely. He went to the backhand and just skipped right over his glove on that ground ball to short. Bailey then base hit, scores Brett Wisely to tie it up 3-3. Bailey had a lot of really nice at-bats in this game, including that base hit, but drew a couple walks in this one where he really worked counts deep and saw a ton of pitches. Michael Conforto then comes up and hits a comebacker that bounced off the pitcher, Montero. It could have been a double play if Montero let it get through and let Jeremy Pena handle it, but instead everybody is safe. Then Slater comes up and smashes that foul ball that we talked about down the third baseline that hits off Ramos. Hits him right in the shin, 99.3 miles an hour off the bat. Then on the Slater ball that was in play was a ground ball to first. Ramos didn't run. Looked like he was confused at how many outs there were. He was waiting to make a break for home and then tried to go back to third base. It was a force at home, so very strange. I'm not really sure it just seemed like he didn't know how many outs there were in that inning. And saw, Williams at third base telling him, go home, run home. What are you doing? He looked just as confused as the rest of us. So very strange, but that gives Austin Slater the opportunity to come up with 1 out and the bases loaded to tie the game. And Austin Slater puts one off the base of the left field wall the most unlikely of heroes for the San Francisco Giants. This guy, if there's anybody who's needed a break this season, it has been Austin Slater. This guy has been a pretty solid platoon guy for the Giants. He brings a glove to the yard every day, and I think people kind of it's easy to forget that. It's similar to Mike Yastrzemski. It's easy to bag on the guy who's hitting below 200 and just he looks lost at the plate, can only hit, is just a platoon guy. He's only available against right-handed pitching. I mean, it's tough. I mean, Austin Slater has been really, really not great for the Giants this year, and I think a lot of us were pretty upset when he came up for Matos. I don't think this completely excuses that move. I don't think this makes it all better, but it does give Austin Slater a little bit of confidence, which is something that that guy needs. He's hearing all of this noise too, and man, that's got to feel good for Austin Slater to have a moment like this, to come up and be the hero tonight for the Giants in the 3-4 walk-off win at Oracle Park. Great way to kick off the homestand. The Giants improved to 33-34 on the season. We got to take a quick break. Much more to break down in this one on the other side. We got to talk more about Kyle Harrison's day. We got to talk more about this Giants offense and how they're great in late game situations, even though they are pretty bad in the rest of the game. We'll talk about that and more on the other side of the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We'll be right back. Get supplies from the site that's made for the skilled trades, SupplyHouse.com. SupplyHouse.com is the reliable way to order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Shop a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from over 400 top brands and get your order delivered right to your door with fast shipping from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Get expert support and industry-leading service from the friendliest folks in the business and talk to a real person every time. I love that. Pros in the skilled trades can get a competitive edge by joining SupplyHouse.com's free Trade Master program. Every Trade Master gets access to a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Join the thousands of trade pros already benefiting from their free membership at SupplyHouse.com/T-M and order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies from anywhere with just a few clicks at SupplyHouse.com. Today's show is also sponsored by FanDuel. Summertime means baseball and the NBA Finals and more, and you can bet it all on FanDuel. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $200 you can use to bet on everything from the Finals MVP to who's going to hit one out of the park. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and add a big win to your summer bucket list. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Welcome back to the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. I'm just taking a quick look at the chat here. Man, light the beam. That's reserved for Logan Webb and Logan Webb wins only. If you look right now, I'm literally wearing a Warriors shirt on this podcast. I will not be having any Kings over Warriors fandom in this chat. Thank you very much. But the Giants 4-3 win over the Houston Astros out at Oracle Park tonight. And Kyle Harrison was a big part of it. Yeah, we had the late game heroics, but we got to talk about Harrison tonight, man. This was, I think, his best outing of the year so far. He looked like he was in just complete control, just so locked in tonight from the jump, man. I mean, this guy, the slurve was working, the fastball was lively. 10 ground outs, only 2 flyouts. He had 3 strikeouts, only gave up 4 hits, the 1 run, but the big key, 0 walks. He had 77 total pitches, 54 of them for strikes, just living in that strike zone. A lot of times we see Harrison down around like the 50-50 split range. This was much more efficient, much better day by Kyle Harrison than what we've seen, a much more pitcher's type outing than a thrower's type outing. And that's a huge step that Harrison is going to need to make if he's going to become the Giants' ace of the future. I mean, Logan Webb is their ace now, obviously, and has been for the last several years. But how long can Webby continue to play at this level? He's still young. Don't get me wrong. I want this guy to be a Giant for life. But Kyle Harrison is poised to be the next guy in line. Matt Cain came before Tim Lincecum, but Tim Lincecum ended up being the more dominant pitcher for a couple of seasons. Matt Cain was better for a longer period of time, but Timmy the peak of what Timmy was, that is what we could have with Kyle Harrison. That this could be very similar 1-2 punch to what that was back in the day. Now they just need to go find a Madison Bumgarner somewhere. Maybe that's Carson Wisenhunt waiting to come up. We'll see what happens with that. That's a pretty lofty comparison, but yeah, I don't think anyone's expecting that, but we can dream, right? We can dream. But point being, Harrison was in total control tonight. In that triple that chased him, that triple and then the double that chased him from the game, the double was almost ground out number 11, and that triple was almost an out at third. If Alvarez gets thrown out at third, or that ball down the line gets fielded, if it's just a couple inches inside the bag, or if Matt Chapman was playing tonight, he's day to day. He's a little bit banged up, but if Chapman was out there, I think he might have even made that play over Casey Schmidt, who got third base assignment tonight. Point being, I really wanted to see Kyle Harrison, who only had 77 pitches, get an opportunity to work out of that jam. He already had one out in the inning with the runner on second base. I really do want to see Harrison become the pitcher that I think we know he can be, but he needs to have the opportunity to go out there and prove it. We've seen him work through situations in games prior this season, but they're usually situations where the bullpen is not very fresh. Today, the bullpen seemed ready to go, and Harrison was pulled a little quickly, I think, but Bob Melvin obviously made the right move to win this game. But my point is that it's not really about right now individual wins and losses. I think Kyle Harrison could have won this game. I think the Giants still could have won this game if Harrison finishes that inning. I guess we won't know, but I think Harrison could have got out of that inning without giving up any more damage. You got the 6, 7, 8 hitters next in the order. Dubon is next, who's not the biggest power threat, but he is a decent hitter, has been okay for the Astros. And then Abreu's coming up next, who has just been putrid this season. So I would have liked to see Harrison stick out there and have another opportunity to get out of the jam. But it doesn't really matter at the end of the day with Bob Melvin picking up the win. I just want to see the development, man. Like that is what I think the Giants need more than individual wins, is to let these young guys develop. It's the same reason that we're mad that Matos got sent down to AAA. We want to see the young kids. We want to see them have opportunities to show what they got, to show what they're working with. And I think that's what the Giants really need to do. You're still a year or two away from really being able to compete in the postseason, and that has a lot to do with the fact that the Giants are just a young team. When you, in another year or two, all of this youth will continue to mature, continue to get better, and I think it's important for them to be able to have these opportunities and learn now how to come through in those big moments rather than figuring out later on down the line. That's just my thoughts on it. I think that the development of a guy like Kyle Harrison is probably more important than if you get out of the seventh inning of a game on June 10th without an extra run scoring or not. I think it's important to let Kyle Harrison go out there and get out of the inning, see if he can work through that jam. We got to take another quick break, but on the other side, more to break down. The Giants have been really good in late game situations at the dish, and they really haven't been very good the rest of the game. But late game situations, something works for them, man. We got to figure it out. We got to break that down, figure it out on the other side of the Locked On Giants postcast. Taking a quick break. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We'll be right back. Are you struggling to close deals? B2B selling is tougher than ever, and that's why I want to tell you about LinkedIn Sales Navigator. LinkedIn Sales Navigator is a sales intelligence platform that helps professionals effectively prospect and engage high-value customers, drive higher revenue, and increase sales performance. Sales Navigator helps you target the right buyers, surface key signals such as job changes or which accounts you should prioritize, and shows you hidden allies so you can find those buyers that are most likely to convert. Fueled by LinkedIn's 1 billion member platform, Sales Navigator gives you the most up-to-date first-party data, enabling you to unlock the conversations with the right people that matter. Right now, you can try LinkedIn Sales Navigator and get a 60-day free trial at linkedin.com/lockedon. That's linkedin.com/lockedon for a 60-day free trial. Let LinkedIn Sales Navigator help you sell like a superstar today. Just go to linkedin.com/lockedon and get started. Welcome back to the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel, and I'm just taking a look at the chat. Brando Son says, did Ramos get injured by that ball at all down the line that hit him? He was standing in foul territory when it hit him, so he was not called out on the play. It didn't really matter as he had a really weird did seem to forget how many outs there were trying to get down the line. I did see on the broadcast that he went back down into the tunnel to go get looked at, and the Giants obviously didn't go back out in the field. I'm assuming that's what he went to go get looked at, or go get, some biofreeze sprayed on that shin or something. But we did see him go down into that tunnel afterwards. I do think that is something to keep an eye out, is to see if Ramos is maybe going to be banged up from this and miss a day or two. He's started like 24, 25 consecutive games since he's been called up. This guy has been an everyday player, something that Giants fans can really get behind, as we haven't had a lot of those in these last couple seasons. I definitely keep an eye out on Matos. I mean, they really could, or Ramos, excuse me. They really can't afford another injury to a key player like Ramos. I mean, how many key guys can you lose in one season? But he didn't come out of the game after he took that ball off the shin. So we're gonna hope for the best, and I don't think it's gonna be anything super crazy. But today, man, the Giants offense came alive late in this one, and that's not the most surprising thing, because so far this season, in the 7th inning or later, the Giants have a team batting average of 265. They have 195 hits. This was coming in to this one tonight. Both of those marks are the best in the majors in 2024. That's according to Stats LLC. And in comparison, the Giants hitting just 236 over innings 1 through 6. So 236 in the first 6 innings of the game. In the last 3 or later, if we're including extra innings like we had tonight, 265 batting average with 195 hits. Both of those probably going up after tonight for the Giants. And that's kind of been the season all year, kind of been the theme of the whole season. It's just been the Giants having these late game heroics, and another walk-off win for them today. I mean, it wasn't really a comeback win, because the Giants took the lead initially, but they did fall behind there in the 10th and make a comeback in the bottom of the 10th. But just a gutsy win by the Giants. Mike Yastrzemski also helping the team out in a big way with his glove and his bat. And Mike Yastrzemski has gotten a lot of heat this year, kind of like Austin Slater. He's been playing pretty well lately at the dish since the 4th of this month, since June 4th. He has a 278 batting average with 5 hits, 2 home runs, 5 RBIs, and 2 runs scored. And that's not including today's triple. So add that triple in with the 6 hits, and add another RBI onto that, 7 RBIs in 7 games since June 4th. And I mean, Mike Yastrzemski really doing a lot for the Giants, not just at the dish with the glove. He made a great play down the right field line that could have really altered how this one turned out. Mike Yastrzemski deserves, I don't think he deserves the flack that he's been getting. Mike Yastrzemski brings a glove to the park every single day. And if he's not the best defensive right fielder to ever play the Oracle Park wall, he is certainly one of the top 3 or 2. I mean, Hunter Pence maybe, but if we're talking about just defense, I'm taking Mike Yastrzemski over Hunter Pence defensively at Oracle Park in right field, specifically in that scenario, because he plays balls off that wall really, really well, better than, in my opinion, almost anybody who's played that position. And that defense matters, man. It's important. We've talked about that a lot on this postcast. Mike Yastrzemski is also not the best hitter, but he's a streaky guy. He can run into a few. We've seen him have close to 20 home run seasons before, and this is a guy who can get it done at the plate, and he's been getting it. I mean, he had the home run a couple games ago in the loss, but Mikey Yaz has really been playing better as of late, and I think he gets a bad rap a little bit just for not having a super sexy batting average. But this guy comes up with clutch hits when it matters in a lot of situations. He has for several years for the Giants, and he always brings that glove to the park. The Giants, with the extra innings win, they are now 5-3 in extra innings games with 5 walk-off wins. I mean, it's if they get the last at bat in these extra innings games, they seem to really do pretty well in that. So the Giants, thankfully, get one back in the win column. They're 33 and 34 on the season this year. The Astros fall to 30 and 37 with the loss. One more thing real quick before we get out of here. Camilo Doval, man, he has been scary sometimes on the mound for the Giants, and not in a good way. Like, he has been very Brian Wilson-esque and just making us all have heart palpitations every time he's out there on the hill. In the slider, you heard Mike Krugo talking about it today if you were watching the NBC Sports Bay Area broadcast. the slider has been, I mean, either it's been feast or famine for Doval up there with the slider. Has some good ones that are just unhittable. You saw that last at bat. He threw 2 sliders to Abreu to end that at bat that were just unhittable. Just dropped off the table. The perfect pitch falls below the strike zone, and it just made him look silly. But you also see ones that just hang right over the middle of the strike zone, or ones that just have no control and just fly 4 feet out of the strike zone into the left-handed batter's box. I mean, Doval has been very up and down. I mean, the talent, I mean, he's still throwing 103 miles an hour. This guy's got gas, but I mean, you saw a couple of really wild cutters tonight. One that got by Bailey that allowed the runners to move up to second and third. I mean, this guy has had some issues, some control issues, and they really got to figure it out. I mean, he has been up and down this season. The numbers don't really reflect that, as he hasn't really blown very many saves this year. But Doval has been just making this an adventure every single time that we've had him out there on the hill, especially lately. So it's been a little bit of a adventure with Camilo Doval, and hopefully he can settle down going forward. Brian Price, hopefully he gets with him and the Giants pitching staff and rest of their coaches and figures it out, because this guy obviously is talent-wise one of the best closers. For my money, probably the best closer as far as stuff and talent goes in the bigs. It's just a mental game with him. He's got to lock in and be able to do this consistently every night. He's been struggling as of late, though, but not talent supersedes some of these struggles, and Doval's been really riding on that talent when he needs to, picking up those must-have strikeouts when he's got to get it. He gets it done. At the end of the day, that's what Brian Wilson did for the Giants all the way to a World Series win. So, I mean, we're kind of nitpicking here, but it's a thing, man. Doval has been up and down for the Giants, even in wins, which the Giants got tonight. I mean, Kyle Harrison, in games that he started, the Giants are, I believe, 9-5 now, 9-4 in games that Harrison has started. This is great. I mean, Harrison has, Giants are 9-4 coming into this one. So now 10-4 in Kyle Harrison starts, though they had lost the previous 2 starts that Kyle Harrison was out there on the hill. He gets back to his winning ways. The Giants back to their winning ways. And we'll see if they can do it again tomorrow. The Giants win the first game of this 3-game set. It's a great way to when you win that first game of the series, really makes it a lot easier to win just one of the next 2, to try and just make sure you at least win the series as a whole. We're still looking for some of those sweeps at home, man. The Giants need to pick up some wins against these below 500 teams while they have this stretch. Again, they're playing a bunch of mediocre teams until like the 28th of this month or something like that, whenever they play the Dodgers next, and they got to make up some wins. And one game under 500, you win tomorrow, you're back to 500. The climb to 500 continues. So we've talked about like every damn show. We'll see if they can get it done tomorrow as the Giants and Astros get after it. 6:45 start out at Oracle Park. We'll come to you live as always following the final out of that game. That's all the time we got for you guys today on the Locked On Giants postcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time. And go Giants. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Triple E, Eric Triple E Engel, and this is the Locked On Giants postcast. We'll see you next time. Peace.